Hi everyone, Brian Grieve here, Director of Education for Z1 Concept North America, and welcome to our head offices here in Fairfield, New Jersey, to our studio where it all happens. And I have a fabulous artist with me today. This is the wonderful Cara Leigh. She's one of our education team. Hi, Cara.
Hello everyone, I'm really excited today to be showing you the V-Harmony technique by our Kawaii collection, highlighting our Decalogic Lightener level 9, and I'm also going to be using our Safe Lightener complex while I go through with this technique.
Okay, thanks, Cara. So you can see Cara's pre-done some of the sections so that we can get ahead of the game here. So she's now going to explain the technique that she's running through and how it's very straightforward. It's a very efficient technique to use in the salon. You can have a very bold effect or you can have a very soft and subtle effect, which is what we're practicing for you today. So Cara, so how big are the sections that you generally take?
I take anywhere between a 1/4 and a 1/2 inch section depending on whether or not I'm going to be splitting that in half. Right now I'm not going to, so I took roughly about a 1/4 of an inch section. In the front it's a little bit thicker because I'm trying to highlight that front piece of her hair a little bit more. I really want that piece to pop around her hairline because every day when people are out in the sun, they get those nice natural highlights, and I'm really trying to mimic that with this technique. So I'm going through and I'm painting in different V sections, and you'll notice I'm going to be traveling with this section to see how that moves along her hairline on a day-to-day basis, depending on how she's going to wear her hair. Especially for my curly-haired girls out there, you're going to want to pay attention to that front piece due to the fact that that piece can curl differently every single day. You want to make sure it's completely saturated through on top and underneath. Sometimes you don't have to lighten underneath depending on the look that you're going for. That's going to give you a more subtle effect, but it's really important either way to make sure you have that saturation to allow for proper lightening.
Excellent. And you can see the consistency of the lightener, the level 9 from Decalogic. What we recommend is a 1-to-1 mixing ratio. So there's 30 grams of powder with 30 grams of, we're using 30 volume. What we call emulsion, or you can call developer, creates a creamy consistency so the lightener stays very stable on the hair, which is very important to Cara. So that point around the hairline, I think that's a very key point. Cara, do you want to sort of repeat that again for us, why that's so important for your clients?
Yes, so when your clients have their hair done, they're going to be seeing this every single day. So it's really important to pay attention to those little key pieces in the front. If they're pulling their hair back to go to the gym, you do not want them seeing stripes in the front of that hairline. You really want to make it nice and naturally blended, especially because of the fact that some of the clients who are going to have this may not want people to know that they even color their hair. Let's say they go away on vacation, they come back, you want people just to think it's completely natural. This is going to be a really good technique to allow that diversity in the hair without it being too dramatic. However, depending on the level of lightness that you're trying to achieve, you can make this a really bold look. You can throw some nice purple colors in there or some different blush blonde tones, ashy blonde, whatever you might have. But it's really important that when you're working around this hairline, you give some variation on where and how you're painting. So some pieces can be a little bit heavier saturated than others. That'll create a little bit extra lightness, which is what I mentioned earlier about that little piece in the front that you want it to pop around the hairline. And it's important to know where your client parts their hair, especially if they part their hair differently every day. They can have a different look every single day no matter what, or how their hair is styled. So with these V sections, you can alternate between going high and low. Some of the sections previously, I kept my rear section here a little bit lower just to create some different height. I call that peaks and valleys. Those peaks and valleys are going to be the key to that dimension in the hair, which is always important when it comes to balayage because that's the real goal.
Excellent. And I notice you're using a technique when you're nearer the hairline, you're actually brushing backwards. What's the importance of that, Cara?
The importance of brushing this backwards is I'm slightly feathering the hair, and what that's doing is it's technically disrupting the panel of hair to make it a little bit uneven. And what that's going to do, rather than teasing the hair, sometimes that can get a little bit messy. When you're backcombing or teasing the hair for a lightening service, when you get back to the sink, sometimes it can be a mess to brush out. So by a little tip of the brush, when you get toward that hairline or toward that top section of the section, rather, what that's doing is it's creating ultimate blend in the hair without having to worry about any stripy pieces that look out of place. So you can do that with your brush, or if you have any sections that are painted a little bit too heavily, what you can do is you can also take the heel of your comb and you can backcomb that slightly toward that top section just to properly distribute all of that lightener. Now this up here is really soft, but if I were going for a stronger level of lift and I really wanted to get that max lift out of this lightener, then you're going to saturate it as heavy as possible. Usually what I do is I saturate most toward the ends and then I feather that up toward the hairline just to create that really nice flow between the different levels of highlights that you have in there.
Excellent, and then it's a very, very important point. And it creates a softer blend in the hair also, so you don't get like what we call a demarcation line. And in between, you'll notice in between all the lightener, Cara is using the Z1 Concept soft stripes, which are really, really cool because they're an alternative to using foils. And there's no folding, there's no bending, there's no using the tail of the comb, and they're very light, and they're actually very, very comfortable for the client's experience when they're having their hair colored. So we're moving into the final section, so you can see already just how efficient this technique is. Remember, it's the V-Harmony technique from the Kawaii collection from Milkshake and Z1 Concept. We're using Decalogic level 9 lightener, which gives us the maximum level of lift depending on where you want to go. The final result for this is to be very soft and very gentle for those clients that don't want that, that really powerful blonde, almost like I think Cara mentioned the blush technique, and she's going to share that formula with you as well as soon as she's finished here. So here we go.
So another key point of what I want to share with everybody today, it's really important to use nice soft bristle brushes. Right now I have our Milkshake brush that I'm using, but the most important part is that you want to keep this brush as clean as possible. Notice that I have a bead of product right on that end of the brush because it's going to give me the most control of where that lightener is going. If you have a brush that's very messy, you're going to end up with a result that's messy only by default because you can't always control where that lightener is going to go. So this is really about max control, and this is going to help you speed through this a little bit quicker without having to correct a mess that you could be making by having a messy brush.
So that's another great point. And there is actually 4 brushes in the set, but here's a very cute brush which is on an angle, which is great when you're working with very, very fine sections or the clients with a very fine hair. And you can see that the ends of the bristles are very feathered, so you get a very, very gentle action working through the hair. So there you go. So there, a quick recap from Kawaii Collection, V-Harmony technique. Thank you, Cara, did an excellent job. So now we want to see that finished result. So if you want to just take your little girl apart and we can have a look, because I'm sure everybody wants to see what the finished result is. So talk us through your formula once you'd processed your lightener.
Okay, so what I did back at the sink is I gave her one good shampoo of the Silver Shine collection that we have. So first I washed her with the Silver Shine, and I let that sit on for about 3 minutes to cancel out any extra warmth in that color. My look that I was going for today was for a blush blonde. So this is for the clients who have that really nice blended color, and the nice part about it is that it's going to give you a different type of tone. It's slightly pink, so I used our powder in smoothies along with our red. So I used 25 grams of the powder in smoothies with 5 grams of the red, and what that does is with that pink and lilac base that the powder has, it really complements well with the blonde that she had a pale yellow of, and then the red basically mixing it all together gives you that nice soft pink color, and you can see right here all that nice dimension right in that hairline. So when she pulls her hair back, she's got those nice pieces without it being too stripy, and it's really, really important to pay attention to that the most. And sometimes what I like to do back at the sink when I'm done with this is take a little bit of extra lightener and paint that hairline and make it pop even a little bit more, so you can get those pieces that'll pick up that color even further.
Okay, so from Z1 Concept and myself, Brian Grieve, and Cara Corey. So Cara, how can we follow you?
Okay, you can find me on Instagram. My name is Cara Corey Beauty, Karacorry Beauty. I post every day pretty much, and I'm always posting my formula. So if you want to see my colors and what I'm doing, I'm always going to have information for you. And I've said this before, I'll say it again, I'm always an educator. You can message me at any time, and I'd be happy to help, especially when it comes to different products, or if you want any more product knowledge or techniques, I'm your girl.
And boy, does this girl love a camera. She's outdoing me. Okay, and I'm Brian Grieve. You get me on Instagram also, Brian29Grieve, Grieve. Again, thank you, Modern Salon. Pleasure, and we're really excited for this very swift technique. So watch out and go to z1concept.com for even more information. Thank you. Bye.